Welcome back to another episode of What's Lost Got to do with it. Oh, I'm so excited. My name is Hannah Conda, and I am a professional runner-up, and I'm becoming quite the connoisseur of loss, actually, because being a professional runner-up, that means I'm qualified to talk about all things loss. And I think the journey of this podcast and the importance of this podcast is to go, yeah, loss in all of its different forms in our life can be really shitty, but fundamentally, these losses and these things we experience help us to grow and be better people. And that's the point of this podcast. So if you have stumbled across my podcast and you are listening, that is my journey. And today I've got an incredible guest, a YouTuber, and just an overall fabulous human being, Luxeria. We have the most incredible conversation about all things to do with growing up as a millennial. Luxeria reviews on her YouTube channel all different TV shows and reality TV shows from the 2000s and how it affects us as millennials and has twisted some of our brains. So the conversation is absolutely gorgeous. And Luxeria also touches upon many issues to do with her being a fabulous trans woman and how she goes about her life. And we touch upon her career and her journey. And it's such a beautiful conversation. And I'm a huge fan of Luxeria. And I cannot wait for you to all hear this episode. It was a joy to talk with her, and I can't wait to get into it. So I am going to have a little break, and we're going to be back with my beautiful guest, Luxeria. Welcome back to What's Lost Got to Do with It, everyone. And I am so thrilled and excited to welcome my absolutely special, fabulous superstar girl of the game, bitch. It is Luxeria.
Hello, gorgeous people. Hello, hello, hello. I am honored to be here, part of What's Lost Got to Do with It, girly wigs. So thank you so much for inviting me, Hannah.
I'm honestly so thrilled. What are we're going to be in their little lost holes, aren't we? In their, you know how you do every episode.
Little hanger, yeah, pop it in your little
hanger.
Oh, in your lost hole, yeah.
In your lost hole,
yeah. Do you know what? At first, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna be in there." I don't know about that, but yeah. Do you know what we are? We're in your what's not got to do with it hole, girl.
I'm sure we've all been in the what not got to do with it hole.
Sometimes the things that come out of my mouth, I'm like, do you know what? Put it on a t-shirt, sell it. There we go.
Bitch, honestly, this is the place, like, you can say all the dirty things, like, no hold bars
I'm not
today.
Used to that. I have to hold back and just scream piss.
Bucket of piss.
I've got a bucket of piss, sweetie. One of my favorite ever ridiculousnesses that have come out of my channel. I shout piss all the time now. It's just become a swear word.
Oh, it's probably in some countries.
To be fair, yeah. Better than screaming anything else.
But I call the dirty words. Now, for people that aren't familiar with your work, which is absolutely ridiculous, and why wouldn't you be? Tell the people in their little lost holes a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Just go, girl.
Oh, God, right. Okay, right on the spot. My name is Luxeria. I have been a YouTuber since around about 2007, and my latest iteration of my Chanel is undoing some of the mysteries and potential damage that the millennial mindset has gone through via vintage reality TV commentary and reactions. I try and find some lost media that other people just don't have available to see on the internet and provide my thoughts. So it can cover things like plastic surgery, modeling, fashion shows, makeover shows, all the good stuff like that. Oh, and I am trans. There we go. At least the most important part right at the end.
Oh, no, I got to end the interview. Sorry. I can't. I'm not about the agenda.
The woke agenda. Oh my God, yeah, can you imagine? But yeah, that's pretty much what I do now. I provide my opinions and some scientific fact about the things that we've gone through reality TV.
Yeah, and it's so fascinating. And what a beautiful nutshell. I love it. I love your nuts. But
thank you. I grew it myself.
But I'm a massive fan of your channel. I have been for a while. I was actually introduced to your channel by my partner Jack because so he started showing me videos
like stick together.
They really fucking do, honestly. And then by proxy, we found obviously Nova and Olympia as well, who you're quite good friends with.
Of course.
And Rolly.
Can't get rid of them, girly wigs.
Nah, but I love your channel because you like it especially for millennials. Reality TV was really like pivotal for a lot of us. It's how we like sometimes saw ourselves for the first time and probably in negative ways. But
Yes, absolutely.
and I just love that you deep dive into all these shows that we are familiar with, but it's like you tap into like memories that we've locked away and forgotten,
Oh,
which
thank you.
I live. But like, how did you come up with the idea of this is what you wanted to explore on the channel? Because you started with beauty. So how did
I
it come to
did,
this?
yes. For a very long time, I was in the beauty space. Basically, I was a working makeup artist for a very long time. And it got to about 2015. And my beauty concept, my beauty stuff on YouTube was like good. It was good enough, but there were just so many young talents coming up through the like tutorial world. And like more short form content was becoming more popular. And I just felt that my content couldn't quite fit into that. Like I love doing long form content. Every single one of my videos now is like over an hour long. Like it's really sit down, pop it on your TV, double screen, have a drink, have dinner if you like, but maybe not on the plastic surgery ones because they get a bit gruesome. And it's just a case of I went to university in 2015 and I was like, I need to redo my life now. I need to redo everything. You know what? YouTube's not going to work for me, girl, anymore. So I went and did a science degree. I was like, do you know what? I've got an interest in science. Let's see how far we can take this. And luckily, I managed to do quite well. I buckled down and got myself a degree. And then, of course, just as I left my degree, was 2020 and the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And I actually started by watching people react to like their first video on their channel. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do that on my YouTube. I'm at home. I haven't got nothing else to do to try and keep my sanity intact. So I was like, I'm going to react to the first video I ever did on my YouTube channel, which was a makeup tutorial. And I was like, oh, if you want to see any more reactions, let me know. And then people were just like, why don't you do like reactions to like what's going on now? And basically at that point, that was when Tyra Banks started like the revealing of the behind the scenes of the reality TV nonsense that happens on America's Next Top Model. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to react to some of these crazy things that people are saying. And it evolved from reacting to short Instagrams and TikToks about reality TV shows to actually then I just sat down and I thought, why don't I just react to an entire episode and see what I can do? And the first couple of episodes are so jank because I had no idea how to record a screen and myself and audio from two sorts. Like basically I've got a whole studio set up. I've turned myself into like a cinematic production. And I had no ideas. It was all like difficult to listen to on the first ones, but people loved them. And I think it happened to be at that point where lots of people were at home, being unable to go out and socialize and things. And
captive
me,
audience.
Exactly. A captive audience, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what made people fall in love with this concept. And I remember the first time I hit 1 million views in a month, it would like my analytics were like, and then it just shot straight up. And I was like, okay, I think people want this. And then that developed into other areas. And someone in the comments said, have you ever heard of the Swan? And I was like, no. What's the Swan? And then my career has been solidified, basically, finding lost media about old reality TV shows that are just awful for millennials to watch now. But at the time, we were like, I wish I could go on the Swan and get 48 plastic surgeries in a day and go on a pageant. And it's actually, Mary, that is not a good thing to happen. But production loved to lead us down that way. So,
yeah. Oh, and it still does. Still does, but in different ways.
You know what? It still does.
Yeah. But it's just so fascinating. The media that you cover and the shows that you cover, they are majority of the time erased from any sort of mainstream platform.
100%. Like when I want to find these things, I have to like go looking. It takes me like months to find like a decent quality source of something new. Like the Swan I managed to find as a secondhand DVD on some back-end Amazon site that was like, you couldn't even buy it brand new. And I had to wait 6 weeks for it to arrive. And then when it did, I was like, okay. And then of course, it's the thing of now, how can this go on the internet without infringing on copyright? And I'm very lucky that the Swan had been so pushed away from production companies and tried to be buried that no one owned the copyrights. They were like, do you know what? You can do it. And I was like, woo, here we go. So,
have you had trouble with copyright with other things?
Yes, every day. Every single day. The recent one was Sun, Sex and Suspicious Parents, if you've ever seen that.
Yes, I just watched your episode on that.
My goodness me. For British millennials, it's like a BBC Three show that I'm sure we're all probably very familiar with. And it would take like unsuspecting teenagers on their first holiday away from parents and just watch them make the worst life decisions you've ever seen. But at that age, like at 19, I wasn't making the best life decisions. So I'm glad that my stuff wasn't televised, to be honest, back then. That is not a good thing. Yeah, that one was the one that I recently had to battle quite a lot of copyright with, because they were like, no, you can't do it, girl. And I was like,
but then does that monetize you as a YouTuber?
Yes, so it demonetized me. Luckily, I have a very loyal Patreon audience for when these things happen, and like that does help me still like fund the production, because this is a bit of a production at this point. So yeah, if I have like several videos in a row that get demonetized, even though I'm using them under fair use, like I transform the content, so it's not the same as just watching the episode wherever you can find it.
Yeah.
In most cases, you can't find it anywhere, so it is a bit like sometimes it verges into, are they being so aggressive with copyright because they don't want people
to see
what people were responsible for back in the day? And then other times it's just a bit like, oh no, this is still streaming somewhere, so they obviously want their pennies from that still. It's under fair use most of the time, and I transform the content enough that it's not a replication of the content.
Yeah.
But sometimes lawyers are like, I don't care. No.
Babes, you're killing it. And I tell you, you'll appreciate this story. So there was a show, I think it was, is it World's Worst Children or
World's Strictest Parents?
Oh, well, maybe World's Strictest Parents was it.
I just started this, yeah.
World's Worst Children. Well, now that is a good show. I would watch that.
Yes. And we could get just watching you rant about children on an airplane the other day, and I was like, you know what? There we go, World's Worst Children.
We could get Joe Frost to come in and sort them out.
Imagine. Do you know that's on my list eventually to get to?
Super Nanny?
Super Nanny. So,
oh,
yeah. I don't raise children. I never have done, so I've got no idea if anything is actually like accurate or not. But I've got an opinion.
We all do. We look at parents who are like, sort your child out.
Yeah. Do you know what? Terrible. Yeah.
But it's so yeah. So World's Strictest Parents. So they were casting at a shopping center in my city back in Perth.
Center. God, how millennial.
Oh, babes. Well,
now the high street's barren.
Again. Yeah. But my brother, he went up and talked to them about my parents being really horrible, and just like he was being oppressed and not being able to flourish or whatever. And my brother at this point was a fucking asshole. Like, he was a shit. He's great now, but he was like a shit. So anyway, my parents get a phone call one day going, hello, we've been speaking to your son. We're interested about casting him, and we've heard that your parenting is not great.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Shit hit the fan. Honestly, my parents, he thought they were bad before. By God, they turned furious.
Do you know what is really strange though, is the more I speak to like various people, we do actually have like personal connections to these shows that are like, do you know what? I was asked, like,
It's wild. I auditioned for Australian Idol. Didn't make it to the judges. No, just got through to the producers, and they were like, "Oh, you're very musical theatre," and because I went in there as sanctified
like
gravity. Yeah, literally. Oh, it was full slur. I was,
how dare you?
But I love hearing about the behind the scenes of YouTube, because it is a platform that I actually probably watch more YouTube now than I watch like TV.
100%, me too. It's changed the way that we consume media, and I feel like that also has helped my channel grow, because it gives you an opportunity to relive some of the, I don't know, golden era or something, but also see like that, although the time was perhaps golden, but now you look back and you're like, oh, it's a bit rotty, but still enjoyable in a weird way. Like, my relationship with America's Next Top Model it's actually like horrendous when you think about what some of these people have gone through. But part of me is still like, I want to be the ultimate fashion model on America's Next Top Model. And I can't ever break that. So I'm like, do you know what? Let's just watch it and see if we can heal a bit, shall we?
While it did scar our souls, I think we've got more of a grip on reality, I think, sometimes than the kids these days. Controversial yet brave.
It's definitely part of the thing of growing up before the technology revolution, and now everything being digitized and online and immediately accessible at all times. Like, we actually had to wait to watch shows and wait to watch what we wanted to do. So it created like little communities of gossip, and then like the next day it would be all I could talk about. It's like, did you see Big Brother last night? Did you watch X Factor? Did you watch America's new Next Top Model? If I'd have watched The Swan when it was out, I believe it aired in Ireland, strangely enough, but I don't think it made it to like It didn't make it to my household when it was
Yeah.
airing, and I think that was about 2003, 2004. But if it had have, I can tell you, me and my mum would be sitting there. Yeah, I'd get a brow lift, I'd get a new wig, yeah, get a dress, yeah. 1,200 calories. Oh, that's actually quite a lot if you really think about it.
Yeah.
What?
And I think it caused us to be so flippant with like language and slurs and like
100%.
because it was very normalized.
It
And
was. And the era of MySpace, I do sometimes think some of the conversations and discourse I hear on TikTok and Instagram, to me, as a hardened millennial that grew up on MySpace, where it was literally just like aggressive insults all day long, every day.
I'm
like,
all the time.
I can't help sometimes but see some of these arguments as like quite fluffy. And I'm
Yeah.
like, are you really upset about this fluff?
Yeah. They wouldn't have survived.
I don't know if you would have liked MySpace.
Oh, but do you remember they had their like the scene kids that would you'd get like a inbox with the list of all the top trending scene kids from all over the world?
So it would be so there'd be like beauty trains, and it would be like, oh, the uglies at the bottom or something, and it would be like, oh, these people don't have many followers, they're too ugly, and these people have 100K because they're gorgeous. I remember when I made it into the 10K bracket on MySpace, and I was like, I am famous. It's just no, absolutely not. But
it was like we revered these. It was like, I don't know, it was, I think it's maybe the fact that because there was not much outside of the realm in like entertainment, everyone was in the same space, so you knew what was going on. And
well, you had to, because there was no algorithm telling you what to watch. It was just you had to find these little communities and these little spaces, and it was quite magical. Looking back, I'm like, some of it's dangerous, really. Oh, talking to people you probably shouldn't be. But it was new, and our parents didn't really like understand the internet. And it was like, no, don't take my MySpace away from me. How dare you? Like using dial-up internet to go on MySpace. Just crazy.
Oh my God. And then like loading an image would be like 5 minutes.
When's it going to happen? Yeah. Is it going to happen? Might disconnect.
Were you a LimeWire user?
Yes. I'm very familiar with LimeWire. I'm even familiar, dare I say it, with the first version of LimeWire, which was called Kazaa. If you remember,
oh my God, yes!
So that was even pre-LimeWire.
Yeah,
and Kazaa was like the worst thing you could ever put on your computer. Like you were going to get viruses, all your data was stolen, gone, immediately gone.
It's so fascinating, like talking to you about this. Your knowledge of pop culture, it's so deep and vast, and it shows but like it's very kind of niche.
Yeah, it is.
But it's for people that know. And I love that in your videos, like there's so many different cutaways that you do to different like just little quick like sayings from a TV show and like all this kind of stuff. How have you compiled all that? How did you come about having that collection of things, and what
oh my goodness
drives that? I know I'm opening a can of worms and it's a big question, but
very much
fascinates me.
So oh God, where do I start with this? This is something I used to do it years and years and years and years ago. I would have a funny effect or a funny filter I put on a video, and I was like, how can I actually add a punchline to a joke that I've set up that I have forgotten halfway through? Like, I've got ADHD, so I will go on a rant about something and just forget what I'm talking about, and I'm in my mind now I use it as almost punctuations to start like a new, and now we're moving on to a next scene, but I'll include a joke or a reference to something that is reminded, or that I say something. Sometimes it can even be the way that someone says something, like, why don't you try on a lovely wig is one of the ones that I pop up, like, why don't you try on this
lovely wig?
And then Trini from Trini and Susanna's What Not to Wear was like, why don't you try a lovely V-neck cashmere jumper? And in my head, I'm like, anytime someone wants to try something, I'm like, a lovely V-neck cashmere jumper?
What is it? Daytime,
really famous
daytime tweed with an evening chiffon.
A daytime tweed with an evening chiffon. Like, no one has ever said this in a serious way. No one goes, stop everyone. I require a daytime tweed and an evening chiffon. But it just works in so many ridiculous things, because I feel like to understand, you have to watch the shows and then see how some of these like TV presenters behave. And then some of their like mannerisms goes through to like how they carry themselves. And then how they carry themselves can also become a bit of a parody of something else. So that you could easily then just be like, have you tried your daytime tweed? You know, it will fix all of the problems that you're having with your day because your outfit is terrible. It's so fluffy and nonsensical, but I've literally got like a folder of, I think the last time I looked, it was like 300 and something, like clips and cutaways. And sometimes it is some things that I pick up or that I remember watching. For example, there was a Mars bar advert in 2008 that has the most hateful children dressed up as this like mum in the supermarket, but it's literally like horror film style. And it's all about like pouring, I think it's either Mars bar or Snickers, but pouring them into a trolley. And this creature dressed up just pulls this trolley and goes, "Let me help you." And that every time now I'm like, would you like to be introduced to something? Let me help you. Like, it's just, it sets itself up and it makes like funny little interjections. And also I think nowadays our attention spans are a little bit
very
short.
limited.
So if it's just me going, "Oh, we just watched the lady talk about her chiffon and I didn't think it was a very nice chiffon actually. What would you like to know about the chiffon?" Like, it's not very exciting.
It wouldn't work.
So the cutaway intonation just creates a sense of like amusement to deal with sometimes kind of difficult subjects that we're watching. Like, sometimes these people go on these shows and they're just ridiculed from start to finish for an hour. And you're like, oh, how awful.
Yeah, but I love it though. Another one.
Right? It's juicy television. Exactly. Juicy television. And it pays for my rent. You know what? There we go.
Speaking of your rent, so recently you have just moved to Spain, Española.
I have. That is true.
Which is very. So you moved to the UK. You were based in London, and now you're in Spain.
I was.
So we're changing complete topics now.
We certainly are.
The move to Spain. Where did that come from for you?
Are we going to talk about the topic of today's episode, which is loss now?
We got to get in there, bitch.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this topic and I was like, oh, how do I broach this? Because she's experienced a lot of loss in her life that makes her who she is. But I want to keep it a bit light, but also draw some attention to some of the political strife that are currently facing me and my community as trans people. The writing on the wall for the UK for me came in when Brexit came in, and just seeing how much like visceral hate towards anyone a bit different, it started to solidify to me that like politics isn't really on my side. Like, I am of the opinion that the world should be open and not closing down everything to be so like controlled. One of the things that really shocked me about Brexit is that people were so happy to have their like freedoms taken away for something that they thought was going to be beneficial. So freedom of movement was a big thing for me because I'm actually half European, I'm half German, and I love the idea of just being able to be like, do you know what, this place is getting a bit too hostile, I'm going to leave. And Brexit stopped that. It's effectively stopped people, unless they're in a unique position like I am, where I work for myself and I can do my job from anywhere. They're stuck now. A few years after that, the conversations of what even are trans people? Why are trans people here? Why are trans people doing this? And then the fast forwarding a few years, but the most recent thing that kind of shocked me was the CAS review, which ended up stopping gender affirming care for under 18s in the UK. And it was built on basically a house of lies. I can understand people expressing caution for these things because it is a life-changing experience that you're going to go through. But that is between a doctor, a patient, and parents. And I don't think political campaigning should really be involved in that in any way, shape, or form, especially when people are using it to almost like bad arguments, bad faith arguments that are kind of like boogeyman arguments rather than actual like.
And very baseless.
Very baseless, and also based on a lot of fear. And I don't really think that laws should be enacted purely out of like fearful speculation. I transitioned in 2014, really. I started my journey in 2013. I didn't really come out and start doing things properly until 2014. I had no real pushback from public, no real pushback from institutions. Like, it was there, but it was very like not constantly at the forefront of being spoken about. 2019, 2020, pandemic happened and people just got more insulated and more hateful of the stranger or the unusual or like the unknown. I saw again something happening that was like, oh, this is actively just taking away healthcare for just trans people. Like, cis kids can still get access to the same medication, trans kids can't. So that to me was like, oh, the writing's on the wall here, Lux. If you want a future where you feel safe and you can achieve things within your work and actually maybe spread some joy to people, and I try and lead by example in my content. Like, I don't make my content about being trans, but I don't hide that I am trans in my content. Does that make sense?
Yes, you're Luxeria, and you just, a part of you is you're a trans woman.
Exactly.
But it's not your
my journey as opposed to my everything.
Yeah.
I try and like lead by example, that if someone stumbled onto my videos and they realize that I'm trans, they'll also hear that hopefully I have some sensible takes on some things that, like, what it feels like to be a person who is maybe a bit oppressed or maybe makes interesting decisions within life at certain points that kind of want to be explained, and maybe other people can feel the similarities with that and then understand that sometimes the media just does pull the most extreme examples of a community and be like, this is what everyone is like, everyone's like this. And it's, I don't ever want to come across as saying we're not all like that, pick me, because I also can't stand pick me bitches, I really can't. But the majority of like trans people are trying to live really ordinary lives, and they just happen to be trans at the same time. And I think that's what I try and get across. But I feel like in the UK that is going and going. We've got a report coming out soon called the Sullivan Report, which is going to look
Who's Sullivan?
It's a doctor who, so quite often they bring in doctors or specialists that haven't even studied like trans people at all, or haven't even invited trans people in. You'll get like a chiropractor being like, no, trans people are bad. You're a chiropractor, madam.
Go crack a neck.
Okay, sure.
Go crack a back. Fuck off. Get out.
It's very like, when did we stop listening to experts? And why do we only have the one expert in a room who's just like also a bigot at the same time? Like, it's really annoying. So annoying. But yes, essentially that led me to thinking I need to leave the UK. I need to leave. And I looked at America, strangely enough. But
thank God you didn't do that.
And that goes to show you how fast the political landscape can change as well. Like, it's been what, 2 months,
and it's already fucking like too much for me.
Irreversibly damaged for years, like European relationships with the US. So I looked at that. I looked at France because I used to holiday there as a child, and my parents were going to one day move to France, maybe when I was younger. It didn't really happen. Thank goodness. It could have been a lovely French day. Say,
bisous, bisous.
Bonjour. Bisous. Bisous. I know that lady.
Kaku, kaku.
No, I'm so glad you've reminded me of that, because I was trying to think like what else she says, because I'm probably going to use that as a cutaway at some point.
Kaku, kaku. Bisous, bisous.
It's just so refreshing and lovely. I really like that Spain has a very liberal idea about people and just like letting people live. And Spain is divided into lots of different counties, essentially. So we picked Andalusia, which is where we are now, which is mostly nice and sunny, apart from the absolutely bonkers weather we've had recently.
Rain.
But yeah, it's nice and sunny, and the quality of life is a lot higher. And also fresh produce. It's wild how much nicer the food is. I'm like, I didn't even think about that, really.
I did a keynote speech yesterday.
Oh, she's a professional businesswoman.
Look out.
International.
Oh, woman on the game.
Woman on the game, absolutely.
But when I was like, it's about like diversity and inclusion. And like diversity inclusion has been so demonized, and it's gone from a word to just describe the fact that you want to have a variety of different viewpoints, variety of ethnicities, sexualities, like all of these things, and everyone's included and welcome. That's what it is. Fun, like full stop.
And now it's become a slur.
Yes, and it's wild to me.
The word woke, which is just almost like anything that someone doesn't like is somehow woke, and that means that it shouldn't exist. It's like a mosaic would be very boring if all the colored pieces were the same color.
This is the thing. And then so I was sitting in this room, and like I was just chatting to people, and I think I looked around and I said, there is so many different people here. There are straight people, there are probably people that are conservative and whatever, but the fact that we're all here, this is diversity and inclusion. This is it.
We 100%.
Humans existing and being. And I don't know, like I think what you do that's so special on your channel is that, especially being a trans person, but it's not your whole identity and it's just you, is people see that, and if they didn't realize that, they just see us as humans, as people. And that's what gets lost, I think.
That's the fastest way to get people on your side when you are like trying to explain some deep marring scar to your community. It's important that other people see you as human, and it's not up to us to prove our humanity in any way, shape or form, because that should be a given. But like some people you do have to prove to that you're human. And as much as that's not the right attitude, unfortunately, we don't live in a utopia. Some people are looking for any excuse to demonize other people. My YouTube brain on then to demonize other people, and you need to just show that you aren't something worth demonizing.
It's just a fascinating landscape that we live in, but you do epitomize this. Just every time I just watch you, I just love that you're just so inviting, and you're channel is accessible for everybody and
Yeah, oh, 100%,
welcoming.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. As I always say, I've had some pretty strong takes. I get really inspired, especially when anything about religious upbringings happen, because obviously I grew up in the UK. I actually went to, so I got bullied out of a school when I was younger, and the only school that had a place for me to move to was a special education religious school in the UK. I know, right? So
What
I then had to,
religion?
it was C of E, so it's Christian.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Church of England, which is Christianity with extra steps, apparently. I had a couple of teachers there that were very, I wouldn't use the word devout because they weren't really that extreme about it, but it was lots of constant comments of like, oh, like gay people are going to hell.
Yeah.
And it was just this thing of, as a child, it's literally like, no, don't, no, no. And it just became rather intense and like very, like, I didn't believe in like God or anything, so other children would bully me for that and say like eternal damnation. And then of course, I had like long blonde hair as a child, and obviously as a boy child that was like how dare you. And it just, lots of other things happened, but I'm trying to keep it a bit light. And it just developed into this thing of like, I've got a little bit of like religious baggage and religious trauma, so when I tackle religion in my videos, I can be a little bit overcritical sometimes or overly harsh, but I do still try to say that if you have a personal relationship with a deity, that's actually a beautiful thing and can help remind you of your place in the world and remind you to be nice of other people. It's when that starts to extend into like oppressive power dynamics, I'm like, no, I can't do this. And then I will end up being quite strong with my wording. But I do generally try to always say, feel free to prove me wrong in the comments, or feel free to share what your response is to this, because I don't,
and have a discourse about it.
I'm not above learning. I'm not above learning like how people live at all. I think if you ever go beyond, if you ever have to be educated as an adult, you very quickly realize that there's no such thing as a master. You're always a student. No matter what the topic is, you're always got to learn about something.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Put that on a t-shirt. An album and a t-shirt. Sell that. And it really is a case of I'm constantly learning. And so I do have to remind myself that sometimes an opinion that I might have formed a few years ago is really outdated and actually a bit cringe now. And I'm like,
and it can adjust.
Listen.
Yes.
Sorry?
Oh, yes. Yeah, and you adjust and I
adjust. I try to remind myself that opinions are things that I'm picking up. They're not actually joined onto me. Like facts of reality are joined onto us as human beings. But like, my phone is essentially like an opinion. So if I pick this up, I'm like, has new information come in that disproves this opinion, or maybe it reinforms this opinion? Sometimes like putting the opinion down can be really difficult because it's something you've held so closely and dearly, or it could have been formed by something that was not a great experience in your life. So then trying to re-educate myself about certain things has helped by just inviting my audience in to talk. And if you see, there are always people having like long strings of conversations in my comments,
all the time.
I'm always there like, this is actually beautiful. Like I actually really enjoy it. And I think
that's what it's meant to be. The discourse, the civil discourse of ideas and thoughts. Can I say, I grew up in a Catholic school, went to an all-boys Catholic school, and I wanted to be a priest.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, as I was very much came from that same space of like, I knew I was different. I didn't have a word for my being different until the kids started calling me gay, and I looked it up in the encyclopedia. I was like, gay, oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's probably right, actually.
And then
funny how a 12-year-old kid can immediately clock you, and it's
like,
how do they always know what slur to say? I don't know. It's
because I never knew what that word was. I was like, I didn't get this lesson. But yeah, so I wanted to be a priest for a really long time. And a lot of the early parts was because I was very devoutly Catholic as a child, because my grandparents brought me into the church and very much ingrained in me. And then it became that I wanted to be a priest as a survival method, because I kept getting told that I was like gonna burn in hell and gonna all of that, drama.
All the exciting drama.
And
the pantomime of the book.
The pantomime of that. Oh, good read. Don't agree.
It's theatre pantomime. When everyone's got a lovely hat on and a gown, and they're all like, and you will now burn in fire, hellfire forever. I'm like, this is quite a pageant, actually.
It really is, honestly. And I think it was a survival technique. And what broke it down for me and shattered the wall was this bully in school and we were in our religious education class, and the topic
Mhm.
of like homosexuality came up. And basically, she said, "You're going to go to hell, but you can love someone if it's from afar. You can't act on it. If you act on it, you'll die, go to
Oh, it's
hell."
hate the
Like,
what is it? Hate the sin, not the sinner.
yes, all of that.
Something like that.
And the school bully stood up and started screaming at her. And he was like, "This is bullshit. Like, how can this book and this like religion profess to love everyone because everyone's made perfectly and God has made people gay? Like, how can this be? And yet you're in here saying that people are imperfect and they're going to go to hell because of who they love and all this stuff." And it just shattered
Mhm.
my whole illusion of church and religion. And it just crumbled away. And I stopped wanting to be a priest, didn't want it anymore. And just, I fell out of the
That must
church.
have been quite mind-blowing.
Honestly, it just shook my world because I was like, I am who I'm meant to be. Like, I'm changing myself for religion, which is not how it's meant to be. And it shifted. Like, I went completely anti-religion, just hated school, hated being
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
all of it. And then I think it was only the last sort of, actually probably like through 2020, the pandemic and stuff, I started to figure out like a different spiritual way of being, because I think
Yeah.
spirituality is important.
Yeah.
And
Oh, 100%, 100%. How you view yourself towards like we are a part of this universe experiencing itself. I said
yeah,
something recently that was something like we are only borrowed molecules for the time that we're alive, and we will go back to the earth and go back into the environment, whatever that environment looks like when we
yeah,
are beyond.
yeah,
And it's one of those things I have to remind myself now that like a lot of people are in religion not because of the like fundamental belief system or the power dynamics. It's that they
mm,
want a sense of belonging and to understand.
yeah,
And I think as humans we like yearn for community, and I can't ever say that, oh, it's bad to be a part of a community, because it really isn't. Like we
no,
yearn for social understanding and like a shared experience. I just think there are some bad seeds that like to influence their
capitalize
flocks
on,
or
yeah,
capitalize on it,
on
especially when you
the
see some of these like mega churches with
Hillsong.
people asking for donate like what was those
Yeah.
like televangelists that like you have to
Oh,
donate money through
yes.
TV. I'm like, stop
Yeah.
preying on old people,
Yeah.
stop it,
Yes.
no.
The
It's very
insecurities
upsetting.
of people, they like can see the weakness and pull
Yeah,
them in.
literally. And
Yeah.
it's like all a scam, but I totally see how people want that sense of belonging and like spiritual connection to other people that are also experiencing something together, because it
Mm.
makes you feel belonging. And I think that's what we all want, isn't it, really? Like a sense
Yeah.
of belonging
Yeah.
and to
What
be
would you
listened
say?
to and looked after.
What would you say, like your like not spirituality or anything like that, but what would you say your current sort of community is around you? Do you keep like a close-knit circle of people, or do you have a
Yeah.
broad spectrum of friends?
Yeah, so I'm definitely one of the people that has like a few select people in my life that are very important, and I'll happily be like acquaintances with other people. And I think it takes a little while for people to get into my inner circle. Generally when they're there, they're probably there for a long time, like
Yeah.
regardless of what kind of
Yeah.
happens. But I because I have ADHD and I also have social anxiety disorder, sometimes it makes it a bit difficult for me to actively connect with people, and I have to purposefully remind myself that like making new connections is important in life, even though
Mm.
sometimes I can be like, I've got enough friends, I don't need it, like how can I possibly manage all of this and everything, and it's a lot. And I'm just like, it's still nice to meet new people and have a wider group of friendship, but I probably literally maybe have about 4 or 5 really close people in my life. And I would say that like other people have potential of becoming like part of the inner circle, but it also, those are one of those things where I'm like, if I try to do too much, I'll have a mentee bee and I won't be any use to anyone then. No, yeah.
Do
But
you,
no, yeah, yeah.
would you classify yourself like, are you one of the friends that would like, are you a quick replier to messages? Are you like a phone call girly, or are you like a, I'll see you when I see you, I'm always in the background, I will read the group thread but I'm not going to reply? How do you lay your friendship?
Getting deep today. I'm probably a little bit of all of the above, depending
Mm.
on like where I am in the moods.
Yeah.
Generally, I've got a couple of group chats that I do like frequent most of the time, and I will read through sometimes. And then if I get busy or distracted, I think it's an ADHD thing. I can be in a group chat and be like, oh, I need to talk about this, and just get completely distracted by something else. So sometimes it's like that. I do a FaceTime. I do like a FaceTime catch up. But I also, my brain can sometimes be a bit hyperactive. So I have one friend in particular that I really enjoy catching up with because we play a video game together. So every time we have a catch up, we're also like doing something together. And that to me is like, oh, I don't feel like unproductive by just stopping and talking. I'm like, we're having nice fun together and building a memory and also like talking about our days and things like that. So I feel like I'm a little bit of all the above because sometimes if I get overstressed with things, I'm a shutdown person. I'm a shutdown and get on with it. I'm not like I need help, girlie. I'm like, okay, you're not going to hear from me for a week. And people will be like, are you okay? And I'll be like, no, but I don't want to talk about it right now. Give me some time. And then
don't look at me in the eye.
Literally, once I've processed that, I'll be like, that was silly, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm perfectly fine now. Don't even worry about it. Like, so yeah. How about you? What type of person are you in your friendship group?
Me, I think I'm a bit of everything. I'm a terrible text replier. I will sometimes I'll read it and then I get distracted and then I'll forget to reply and then I'll reply 5 days later being, oh, sorry.
Whoops a daisy.
Yeah. If I go out into a social situation, I'm a hummingbird, make sure everyone's okay.
Yes. Like the old club kids.
Yeah.
Talk
I'm
to
like,
everyone,
is everyone
make
all right?
sure everyone knows you. I've lost my bag.
Okay?
Have you seen my bag? Oh, I love your outfit. What lovely hairstyle you've got.
Never lose the bag.
I remember doing all of that back in the day in my club days. I remember being that little fluttery butterfly. Despite having social anxiety, for some reason in clubs, it was like, oh, that's not true. No, I don't know.
But yeah,
sorry, I interrupted.
No, I live. But I do have a very small group of people as well that I know I can rely on. And they understand that if I'm not replying to you, it's not because I hate you. It's just I don't have the capacity in my mind to deal with that. And then and I love friends that and I have a lot of good friends that I can not see for ages and get back together. And it's like nothing has changed. Same, just pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
I do try to be a low maintenance friend and I'm a non-pressuring friend.
Low maintenance, that's a great one, actually. I think that's something I try and aspire to be in my friendship group. Like I look high maintenance, but because I maintain it myself, I'm not actually like high maintenance on anyone else. Does that make sense?
But because we that's the thing. I feel like there's a I think it's important for me anyway. Like I don't like to burden anyone. I'll reach out for help if I need or whatever. But as a friend, I understand we've all got lives. We're all doing the different things, and I travel quite a bit. So
I was gonna say, like, obviously, because you go on tour, you might not see people for months at a time and be actually like really genuinely busy.
And so I appreciate when people give me that courtesy. So I do the same. I like you live your life. We'll catch up when we can catch up, and we enjoy those moments. And I think I've gotten better at that as I've gotten older. Like,
it's a skill you have to learn because there have been sometimes in my life where I thought I was really good friends with someone and they were that kind of a person, but then I get snide comments or snide remarks about not being able to make time for them, and I'm like, I'm running my own empire here entirely by myself. I have no other employees and I'm trying to survive, sis. I'm really sorry that I can't suddenly respond to this Instagram reel you sent me, girl.
Sorry.
But then it's those
leave me alone.
Those sorts of things where I'm just like, okay, clearly there isn't like there doesn't feel like there's much of a future in this friendship.
No, and that's on them. That's on them.
Exactly. I'm not like an extinction burst person where it's like a big confrontation drama. We never spoke again. There's one or two people in my life that perhaps have been that way, but most of the time it's just, we're probably gonna just fizzle out over time and maybe reconnect in the future at a different time when we're different people.
Yeah, I just love you. I just want to squeeze your face.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. But we sort of coming to the end of our time now, and I don't want to hold you, but
has been absolutely lovely. If you need me back for part 2, I'll be more than happy, girlie.
I would love that. Honestly, I just for the people as we're in your little lost holes, honestly, go and watch Luxeria's videos, please. I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, you will not be disappointed. Because we're coming to the end and I'm introducing a new question that I want to ask all of my guests at the end. Fancy. Obviously, the podcast is about loss and all of its different facets. And I think we've touched on different parts of loss and different ideas of loss. But this is just a general thing. And and maybe it's like some words of wisdom to people out there. But of all the things that you've lost or the experiences of loss that you've had in your life, what is something that you have found and taken away from those experiences to make you a better person?
Oh, it's a rather deep question.
Mama, hold on. Let me just get my MCO Beauty Charlotte
Oh
Tildes.
my
Let's
God.
just
Yeah,
start.
hang on. Let me just get my,
I'm
the
ready.
questions are coming in today, aren't they? I wonder how this is going to turn out. I would say my immediate initial idea that came up to you asking that question was to say that over the times that I've lost important things or lost who I was, finding my sense of self is something that I can take away from these mostly negative experiences. Like loss is not usually a positive experience.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will say that like you find out who you are when times aren't easy. Like it actively, it's not that you should go out and look to make your life harder. It's that resilience and being resourceful is something that can actually make you enjoy yourself more as a human being. I find it interesting when I come across people who haven't experienced like any amount of loss, especially at my age now. Like I'm coming up to 36. By this time in life, people have experienced usually some amount of loss, or
Yeah, absolutely.
quite often sometimes a big loss, or maybe even like a little loss. And when I come across someone who hasn't, I always try to be like, when you do feel these things and when these big events happen, you have to let yourself feel and be present in what is currently going on, because it doesn't matter what the next week was going to happen or the week after that, or like this big life-changing event. It doesn't matter what was going to happen a year's time. You have to feel what this is now so that you can almost build yourself a bit stronger for those around you, for yourself, and for also your future. So I experienced pretty big losses in the like 2010s. Really, I lost my best friend, and 3 years before that, I lost my mum. So I lost two huge figures in my life, and I was like, "Oh, this is bad." And as a response to that, I developed hyper independence. If I can just do it by myself, I don't need anyone else, and that protected me. But it's not a good thing to be hyper independent. If you can do everything yourself and you can make yourself happy, nobody else in your life is needed for anything, and they will pick up on that energy sometimes. So I think being able to survive is a really important quality, but you'll only be able to develop that when something comes along that you have to survive from. Unfortunately, it's one of those painful things of living, is understanding who you are at the end of the day, and are you happy with that person. So I would say from my personal loss, it is important for me to keep remaining and developing my sense of self, and that can change, but you have to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would say, yeah, my sense of self. I'm very happy with that. I'm happy with who I've become, and I'm happy with where I'm going right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could have said that 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So
that's so magical. Thank you for sharing that with me.
thank you.
Honestly, that is just
More than
so
welcome.
beautiful. But
Thank you.
oh, you just inspire me, and I love everything you do, and I'm constantly
Love
watching
it.
from afar.
Love it.
So
Next time you're in my neck of the woods or I'm in your neck of the woods, we shall go for
I want to
dinner.
come to Spain. I would love
yes.
that.
Come and
Yes.
sashay by the pool in the
Woohoo!
sunshine. Yeah. Yeah. It'd
Oh,
be lovely.
Espanol.
Mhm.
Hola. But
Hola. Hola, chicas.
but from the bottom of my heart,
Yeah.
Luxeria, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you for
stories.
inviting me.
Oh,
Thank
you are
you.
so welcome. Would you be able to tell the people where they should go and keep an eye on all things Luxeria?
You can type in Luxeria into Google and I'll come up. Just ignore the Daily Mail articles. They're not very good. Yeah, type Luxeria into YouTube and you'll probably see both of my channels. I have one that's based on like travel photography and creation. And then I have my main channel, which is commentary and reality TV. So yeah, I'm also on Instagram, XX Luxeria.
Love it. Oh, go and follow,
Thank
go
you so much
support
for
her. I love
inviting
you.
me.
I love
Thank
you.
you. I love you too, Hannah.
Welcome back to What's Lost Got to Do with It, everybody. If you can't tell, I'm still on an incredible high after our beautiful guest, Luxeria. It was a real honor and a treat to have her on the show. I've been a fan for such a long time, so it has just blown my tits off, honestly. So thank you. Go and look up at Luxeria. Go and watch all her videos. Just, you will not be sorry, honestly. But you've made it tonight. I mean, today, whatever time of the day you are listening to this, it is time for Healing Hands. I have popped up a little questionnaire on my Instagram, and I have had a few questions come in with people wanting advice because I have a certificate one in Reiki, which means I could do hands-on healing. I haven't done the certificate two, which is remote healing, but I'm going to try anyway because you know what? a certificate's not going to stop me. So I am going to answer some gay old questions for the people of the world. So I'm very excited. Our first question, which is it's actually a really poignant question for me as a drag artist, and it comes from Anonymous. Anonymous, have you had a period where you've fallen out of love with drag? And yes, 100%. I have had many periods where I have just wanted to throw all of it away and give up, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think sometimes you have to have those moments of frustration or even anger or just you're uninspired, you've got drag block, as it may be. And in those moments, you just have to sit with it. And I tried to not force myself. I did the things that I needed to do to get by, but I wouldn't force myself to be super creative or anything like that. I would just do what I needed to do and because if you're doing drag, you know that you're good at it. And if you're being booked and you've got jobs and stuff that you can do, and there's a few things that you could probably phone in. I sit with that and just do what I need to do just to get by. And if I allow myself into that space to just feel it and start exploring why I'm feeling this at this point. Maybe it's just because I'm burnt out and tired and I have a good sleep and then I'm like fine again. But yeah, I just let myself be in that space. And it's 15 years later, and I've had multiple periods of the times I'm still doing drag because there's a moment that clicks again and something will happen. Maybe it will be at a gig or you will just be sitting there and you start styling a wig. There'll be something that triggers you back into that space of loving it or finding joy. And maybe it might not. And maybe you need to take a longer break and you may need to go and explore yourself outside of drag. And that's okay too. But you've just got to give yourself that space to do whatever you need to do and do what feels right for you. Because there's nothing worse than burning that candle and trying to push shit up a hill when it doesn't feel right anymore. There's no point in suffering that burnout and suffering through all of that for nothing. There's no point. And that goes for everything in life, not just drag. That's an everything thing. Got to just trust yourself and give yourself the time to breathe. We all go through these periods, but you will find the light at the end of that tunnel. So stick with it, babe. Stick with it, or give it up and have a break. Just treat yourself and rest. Either or, great options, and you'll see where you come to, but just be honest with you. Okay, next question that I have. Any advice on feeling like you're not moving fast enough? And they've given examples of an engagement, gigs. Yes, I'll tell you, life is not a sprint, it is a marathon. And in this current climate we're in, the current culture that we're in, it is expected that we are turning things out and moving really fast. And because you don't want to lose the people's interest and oh my God, I've got this thing happening now. I want to have the momentum. And yeah, that's cool and whatever. But we're in it for the long haul. We're in it for the long haul. We're here for the marathon, babes. We are not trying to sprint through life because you want to savor each moment. You want to have time to relish in the things that you're doing and achieving. And things happen when they need to happen. And if you start pushing to make things happen when they're not meant to, that's when shit goes fucking wild. Enjoy the ride. If things aren't working the way that you had hoped, have a look around you and see the things that you do have and that are going good, because that is the path you're on currently. And those other things that you hope and want to manifest in your life, it'll happen, it'll come. So that's my advice for you all today. I hope there's something you can take out of those two questions. Thank you for those questions. Honestly, I appreciate them and I love that you all listen. And I really am honestly so proud of this podcast. We're doing little things behind the scenes to try and improve the quality of the sound and the video, but fundamentally it's about the content, it's about the stories, it's about my guests sharing their ideas and their thoughts. And I thank you all for listening from the bottom of my heart. Make sure you're following, subscribed. We are on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on podcasts on Apple. So I just keep listening, and I hope that you find something in here that you relate to and it makes life a little bit brighter for you. So from the bottom of my heart, I love you. Thank you for letting me invade your hole, and we'll see you again very soon with another episode of What's Lost Got to Do with It. Love you, kids. Bye.